Here's some of the kangaroos. Oh, that's Gussie. He's a little stunted kangaroo, isn't he, eh?
He is. He's a sweet boy, Gussie.
Hmm.
Very small for his age. He's not growing. Well, this is Coco and Tiger. Tiger's a little Euro. Very different from most of the red kangaroos. He's more of a wallaby. Very different temperament, different physique. And they like to live in the hillier sort of places. They're very, very sweet, but they're also very naughty. They like to climb the furniture and chew things. Very feisty little critters. Some people don't like to look after them because they're so naughty, but those that have looked after them fall in love with them because they're so sweet and they're so affectionate. So it's a bit of a double-edged thing with them.
They also really bond with just the people that they're with. So what about the time, Gill, when we had two and we couldn't get anyone to look after them because every time we left them somewhere,
yeah,
they bit people
and
they
play up the whole day with anyone, and then they would sulk for a day or two when we got home. They wouldn't have anything to do with it.
So we ended up taking them to town with us every time, with bottles and toilet rolls to pee them, and in between each shop there we are with these 2 euros heating up milk in the car, and
constantly stop for everyone to see what we had in the bag. All the oohs and ahs and how sweet they were. Those 2 euros, when they finally went out, they've stayed around. One's lived very close and came back last year with a baby to show us. Just turned up at the gate. Hung around for about an hour.
That was rather wonderful because she hadn't been back for so long.
They're more of a solitary animal. Sometimes you'll see them usually just with their babies that they're rearing. Mating season they sort of come together more. Euros also have a habit of sitting on your lap and peeing. You don't realise because it's sort of the same body temperature as you, and then all of a sudden you feel a bit clammy.
We both had wet pants yesterday, didn't we?
We did, yeah.
When we get to a point where we're starting to let them go out into the wild, we usually let a little group of them out. Every morning it's the same. We open the gate for them to go out, and they've got to stand in the open gateway, and they've got to scratch themselves, and they've got to sniff the air and have a stretch, and then they'll take another step and they'll have another sniff and another stretch, and there never is an easy let's just open the gate and let them out. It's this whole ritual of actually entering this realm, the realm beyond the gate, and adjusting themselves to it before they actually come out of the yard.
When I've lived in really remote places, I usually only went to town once a month or something, and when I went to town it was just totally unnerving. Like, just to cross the road was, you just couldn't judge the speed of cars, or it was all very, very foreign, and to walk into a supermarket or something was just all the fluoro lights and things. It was just a shock to the system. And then after a day or so you'd get used to it, and you'd go back home, and it would take you probably 2 to 3 days before you got back to where you were before you left. Basically what happens is when you live in remote places where there's not a lot of power lines or motor cars or things like this, your auric field expands, and your senses become keener and sharper, and you feel and sense things a lot more. When you go to town, because your auric field is so wide and sensitive, everything's too much. It's like it's a total overload for you. Then as you spend more time in town, your auric field condenses again to protect you. And then when you go back out bush again, you don't feel the same because your auric field has condensed around you and is it's a protection. That's basically what it is. And then slowly it expands again, and you relax. You want to go in, or are you just going to sit around?
When they go back to the wild, it's always over a period of time, say a year. The first time they ever go, they'll be back the next morning.
Yeah.
Then the next time they go, they might spend a couple of days, and then they might come back for a week, and then they might go for a week.
Yeah, it's a very individual thing.
It is, isn't it?
Some just go.
Yeah, that's right. You open the door,
you never see them again.
and you never see them again, or you do, but you see them from a distance.
Yeah.
And
others will come and go for months.
And even the kangaroos that I've had the most incredible connection with, that came to visit me for like a year and a half after she'd been released, eventually the call of the wild got stronger than her connection with me.
Well, it was her baby, wasn't it? Usually when they get pregnant, they don't come back.
Yeah.
Until they've had the baby at least. These little ones are going very silly.
They're frolicking. They're rather beautiful, aren't they, for just really keeping you in touch with what's real in life, eh?
Heroes are very silly.
Oh. Look at that.
They mature very quickly.
Yeah.
Doing laps now.
Oh. Whoa. How funny.
Oh, you know. Yes, safely. Okay.
So these are just a couple of our babies. They come in many forms here. Pigs, birds, camels. Many orphans. There's always an emu walking past, or a mosquito buzzing past, or a fly. And if you look at the ground, ants everywhere. So that's the magical realm of the macropod. The Euros, the kangaroos and the wallabies.